четверте, але це буквально на тиждень назад. А до того чого сиділа дівчина. Чому Порошенко не бере її маму, не зустрічається з лідерами держави, не вимагає, що він сидить? Він боїться.
Ми ще ставимо пробори, і
бачив, що ми робимо, знаєш, тому що бажання щось класне робити, розумієш, тут побачив, що ми робимо.
Це акція на підтримку Надії Савченко. Всі торонтонці вийшли сьогодні 9 березня підтримати її родину, спеціально маму, яка страшно переживає. Ми знаємо біль, яку вона переходить, і це довг є кожного українця і не українця в цілому світі її підтримати для того, щоб вона приїхала назад в Україну, щоб ми нарешті добилися того, що ми хоч маленької перемоги над путінською пропагандою і взагалі, щоб люди в цілому світі почувалися як люди. Це вже 2016 рік, це вже не є для того, щоб за політику люди сиділи. Ми всі підтримуємо Надію і хочемо, щоб вона була звільнена.
Зараз ми почнемо зі статті, яку сьогодні зранку було опубліковано на iPolitics, яку написав один з наших українських патріотів з Оттави Ярослав Баран. І я запрошую до мікрофону Марійку з UCC Торонто, яка вам зачитає цей артикл.
Yaroslav Baran published this article this morning. Yaroslav Baran published this article this morning, and I think it's worthwhile for us to read it here today so that we can be updated on how we feel about Nadia Savchenko and the situation in Ukraine to date. Does this woman have to die before the West could...
Free Савченко!
Free Савченко!
Free Савченко!
Free Савченко!
Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Дякуємо, Ельвіра. І зараз я хочу запросити до мікрофону Оксану Реву, колишнього президенту КУК Торонто.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. As I stand before you, I'm saddened to see such a massive turnout from various Ukrainian organizations, our friends from other communities, fellow Torontonians, because of what is happening to Nadia Savchenko. But I'm also gladdened by this unity of support of democratic principles that we live with and for which most of the world adheres to. This is a oneness, a togetherness. It is strength in opinion. Laws are clear, publicized, stable, and just, are applied evenly and protect fundamental rights, including the security of persons and property and core human rights.
нашу свободу і покаже, що ми браття козацького роду.
Слава Україні! Героям слава! Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Our next guest speaker is a former member of parliament for Etobicoke Centre and a former chair of the Canada-Ukraine Parliamentary Friendship Group and a big patriot of Ukraine, Ted Opitz.
Thank you, Anton. Anton, as most of you know, is from Crimea, and we affectionately call him the Crimean Crusader, because we will never, ever recognize any part
against all international laws, and even they're against Russia's own constitution, which has been violated by Putin and his officials since basically he came to power, and especially during the last 10 years of his reign or so. So regardless of how outrageous their actions are, they're still proceeding with them, and because they think that they will not bear responsibility, that the international community is going to close their eyes and not do anything, and they could get away with whatever they do. Just like an ordinary criminal, when he or she commits a crime, like a calculated crime, they're doing it because they think that they will not bear responsibility.
Thank you, Dennis. We're still waiting for more guest speakers to come. Some of them are letting us know that they will be late. So while we're waiting for them, I'd just like to read a statement from myself. And it's a very short statement. Шановна громадо, dear community members, today we gather outside of the Russian embassy or Russian consulate yet again to express our frustration with the thug regime of Vladimir Putin. Thousands of Ukraine's best men have already died defending Ukraine's independence and territorial integrity. Others have been wounded, but nobody was broken. He wanted to break Ukraine's spirit, but he was unsuccessful. Ukraine is united like never before. Ukraine is united. 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 Ukraine is united.
Ukraine is united.
Nadia was kidnapped, transferred to Russia, kept in a Russian prison, but her courage and determination during the series of show trials have inspired Ukrainians around the world and proved that the Ukrainian spirit is unbreakable. Putin thinks that by not releasing Nadia, he shows the entire world how strong he is. In reality, he only shows how weak he is. Nobody is invincible, Mr. Putin. And soon enough, Ukrainians around the world will be celebrating their victory over Putin outside of Russian embassies and consulates. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be standing here and celebrating Ukraine's victory sooner than we think. But for now, today we came with a very specific message. We've all been following the story of Nadia since the day when she was when she was illegally detained and transferred to Russia, and then the entire show trial that's happening right now in Ukraine. So to these guys that sit in this building and think that nobody cares and the world will just suck it up and will not act on it, they're very wrong. Our message is very powerful, and our message is very simple. Free Savchenko. Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko!
Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko! Free Savchenko!
On March 3rd, Nadia announced a dry hunger strike in response to Russia's court's denial to grant her a final word. Today, she announced in the court that they have a maximum 1 week to announce the verdict. However, the court said that they would do so on March 21st. I think this is another reason for us to come back here on March 21st, but I hope that before then, we'll come here to celebrate Nadia's release. Putin did not kill yet. He tries to kill yet another Ukrainian. There are enough crimes that he has committed already, for which I'm sure he will eventually be in a nice cell waiting for him there. Ladies and gentlemen, just yesterday we were celebrating the achievements of women and their positive contribution to the global society. At the same time, Putin is trying to kill one of the brightest and most patriotic Ukrainian women of our days. We will not stay idle, and we will fight for Nadia until she is released. God bless Nadia Savchenko, God bless Ukraine, Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini! Slava Ukraini! Volю Savchenko! Volyu Savchenko! Volyu Savchenko! Volyu Savchenko! Ladies and gentlemen, we have a quick address from Markian Shvets, who represents Euromaidan Canada. Markiana.
Слава Ісусу Христу! Слава Україні! Давайте трошки голосніше, щоб Надя почула. Слава Україні! Краще. Dear friends, guests, all those friends who are supporting Nadia around the world, first, let me bring greetings from the Ukrainian Canadian Congress, the Toronto branch, and the Ukrainian Canadian Congress National Executive, who have made calls across the country for everyone to stand up. And in 5 cities, the call was being answered today. Here in Toronto, thanks to your help. In Ottawa, in Montreal, in Edmonton, and in Winnipeg. This is a cross-country movement, along with hundreds of others who are sending letters of support. Across the globe, the Ukrainian community is mobilizing. The Ukrainian community is sending letters to their representatives. Articles are appearing in all the major papers, thanks to your work and others across the globe who are relentless in their quest to free Nadia. This is reminiscent of the times of the Soviet Union. Putin has taken Russia back to the Soviet Union, back to the trials where everything's predetermined, back to the time when there is no legal process. If you are found guilty, it's because they want you to be guilty. Yet they steal millions, arrest people. They take away their homes, they take away their businesses, they take everything from them, but they can't take one thing, and that is their dignity. Their human dignity they cannot touch, and Nadia is an example of the Ukrainian nation. Nadia could have broken many times over the months of isolation, over the months of illegal process, over the months of kidnapping and being held against her will. Nadia could have been broken so many times, and yet she didn't fall. And Nadia could have been broken by being bribed, and yes, they would have offered her anything to have her turn on her native land, Ukraine, and yet she wasn't broken. And Nadia could have been returned to Ukraine and denounced the government and denounced the army if she wanted to, and they would have let her go, but she was not broken. They tried every avenue they could, including holding her for months upon months upon months with illegal processes, knowing she won't be let go, and yet she is not broken. To which we say, Slava Nadії, Slava Nadії, Slava Nadії, Slava Nadії, Slava Nadії, Slava Nadії, Slava Nadії. And my friends, Nadia is a symbol of the Ukrainian nation. Of the Ukrainian nation was not been broken. The Ukrainian nation has withstood 2 years of war with Russia. Let's be clear, it is a war with Russia. There are no separatists. There are no people who want the Russian language. In fact, the Ukrainian army speaks mostly Russian. Exactly. Most of the people in Central and East Ukraine are speaking Russian freely. There is no danger of that language. Putin invented a cause and decided he was going to invade Ukraine, as he did so many other countries, in what he calls the near abroad. Putin has acted illegally in invading Ukraine, but the Ukrainian nation has stood up, as does Nadia. The Ukrainian nation has not been broken for the last 100-year war, beginning at the First World War, when we lost so many millions of people to Russia, followed by the concentration camps, the executions of Stalin, the Holodomor. Ukraine is fighting a 100-year war, and some would argue 300 years. Some would argue 700 years. All the people, not just Nadia, all the people who are sitting in prison camps today, who are being detained illegally, all those who died on the Maidan and since the Maidan, the thousands of people who have perished, who have been displaced, the millions of people who have had to leave their homes in Ukraine, all because Russia wants to occupy Ukraine illegally. We will never give up. We will stand by Ukraine until Crimea is returned, till the border with Russia is sealed, till the illegal troops in Ukraine return to Russia, till Russia stops financing terrorists in Ukraine, till Ukraine can occupy its own territory and lead its way to a Europe that represents democracy, free trade, educational standards that meet the highest standards in the world. Ukraine wants nothing more than be left alone, and to which we say to Russia, hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Hands off Ukraine! Before the millions of Ukrainian patriots who have given their lives to get Ukraine to this point where Ukraine can stand up for its rights, for its liberty, for all those who sat through concentration camps, for all those who died, for all those who gave up their lives, their youthful lives, and sat in Siberian prison camps for 10, 20, and sometimes 35 years, for all those today under huge pressure by the secret police, by Russian agents in Ukraine, by oligarchs, corrupt officials, and everyone else who is trying to break the Ukrainian nation. We bow our heads before them and we yell out strongly, Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
Дякую.
Дякуємо, маркіяне. Today is also a good opportunity for us to remember other political prisoners that Russia is holding, namely prisoners from my homeland, from Rustem's homeland, from Elvira's homeland, from Crimea. So I would like to invite the president of the Canadian Association of Crimean Tatars to say a few words about those political prisoners. Rustem, please.
Today we are gathering here against the imprisonment of our hero, Nadia Savchenko. But let's don't forget about other prisoners who are illegally captured in the Russian prison and Putin's prisons. It's Oleg Sentsov, Kolchenko, it's Akhtem Chigos, he's the vice president of Crimean Tatar Mejlis. This is Mustafa Degermenji, Ali Hasanov, and many, many others. 2 years ago, they came in front of Verkhovna Rada Crimea to protest, peacefully protest against the illegal occupation of Crimea. And now they are in prison. And many, many of Crimean Tatars now endanger Russian power, Crimean power, so-called Crimean government, trying to sow fear in Crimean Tatar people. They coming to our houses, they coming to our businesses, they arrest people, they come in the morning 5 a.m., they break your windows, they come inside, they scare your children, our children, and they arrest people. And it's happening again and again. 2 weeks ago, there were many more arrests of the people, and now they are causing of so the Russian government trying to tell they are radicals because they believe in Allah and they have their Arabic books in their homes. And now the Russian government and the FSB are trying to make them related to ISIS. And every day we're trying to do something to help our people from Canada, and our Majlis, who is in Kiev, are trying to help our people from Ukraine. And I call upon Ukrainian government first of all to do something, because not much has been done so far. Like President Poroshenko came here 2 years ago, and from the Parliament Hill he promised, like personally me, to take care of our people in Crimea, to take care of Crimea and have Crimea back. And now today we see not much has been done. So there is no answers to the questions. There is no roadmap when Crimea can be returned, how Crimea can be returned, and what to do after Crimea will be returned. And also I call upon Canadian government, because Canadian government was leading before in this issue, was always in the front of US and all world, Europe and other countries. But now I don't think they do so much. And what I want to tell, there has to be a Savchenko list, and we need our hero, our Nadia, back alive, not like Magnitsky. The list has to be done now, and we want our Nadia back, we want all our prisoners back, and we want our Crimea back, because Crimea is Ukraine. 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 Thank you.
Дякуємо, Рустеме. And now I would like to invite the President of International Council in Support of Ukraine, former Member of Parliament and former Member of Provincial Parliament, Yuri Shimko, to deliver a small speech.
Dear friends, I congratulate Dennis, Stacy, Canadians for democracy in Russia. I congratulate Rustam for the organization and the efforts you've made on behalf of the Crimean Tatars and the citizens of Ukraine. I will try to match the eloquence of Markian and yours, Rustam, in my remarks. I welcome as well, as just arrived, Ted Opitz, former Member of Parliament, who has championed the cause of Ukraine for many years. Dear friends, in Ukrainian, the name Nadia is translated as hope. Hope. She epitomizes the hope of all humanity for a world without violence, a world of justice, a world of peace, a world where there is indeed just courts and just justices, not kangaroo courts as the one that is being held in Rostov trying her. She epitomizes the hope for a better future for all children, not only of Ukraine, but all of Europe, for a better life for the people of Russia. What she is saying today is set in silence. But a few days ago, she wanted to make her final statement before the passing of sentence. She will be sentenced in a few weeks at the end of March. I believe it's the 21st or the 28th. The 21st of March, we will be hearing her sentence. Apparently, it is 25 years of incarceration simply for loving her people, simply for standing on behalf of justice and liberty. She was kidnapped by force by a foreign invader, carried across the border to another state, being tortured, suffering 20 months of incarceration, many of them in the process of a hunger strike. Her hunger strike lasted longer than that of Valentin Moroz, the Ukrainian historian, who in the 60s carried the same hunger strike in the prison of Vladimirska under the reign of the communist regime. If there is anything to be said, I don't have the translation of her words, but what she says is the following: I wish to return to my country, to Ukraine. I do not recognize this court because there is no just court in Russia. I do not recognize you as the judges who will be passing a sentence on me. This is why there will be no appeal, because you cannot appeal a farce. You cannot appeal a circuit.